You know, it's not easy living in another country and trying to go to Super League games, especially on the road. So you see that jersey back there? I had to wear it today, but I did it because I was not going to be denied. I'm not going to fly to Istanbul and then not be able to go to a game that I can walk to in 25 minutes. Absolutely not. Tay Fei Fei, read between the lines, baby. So we all know that we don't like Paso League. Well, great, because 2 years ago they voted. Now you don't have to be with Paso League. But the problem is now everybody's everywhere. So I didn't know that Kasımpaşa switched to an app called Bulletino, right? I knew that Fatih Karagümrük was with Bulletix. They've been around for years. But now there's Bulletino. There's bullets everywhere. Everybody's selling stuff. And so I was looking on Paso League, right? Where's the Galatasaray and Kasımpaşa game? I see the Fenerbahçe Eyüpspor game. Why is there not a Galatasaray Kasımpaşa game? Well, there was. It was on Bulletino. I found out about Bulletino 2 days ago. And guess what? By then, all the tickets were gone. Not only that, look at this. You see the section where the Galatasaray fans are? You see that big section right there that's empty? Yeah, that's my problem. So last year, I went to Eyüpspor, who plays in the same stadium. Do you know what Eyüpspor decided to do with that section? No, they weren't afraid of Galatasaray fans like Kasımpaşa's president is. They decided to sell it and make money. It helps you buy better players, run a better club. They sold tickets. So the entire end zone was full of Galatasaray people. And guess what? They paid for those tickets. I could get a ticket then. I talked to one of the co-leaders of Ultra Aslan. He couldn't even get a ticket for one of his friends who was in town and wanted to go. That's how bad it was. All you had was the one section. Meanwhile, half the stadium sat unsold. Yes. And so that's another problem. Every club can decide what they want to do. Why Kasımpaşa didn't want to make money? I don't know. So there I was. I didn't have a ticket. But you don't go to Super League games for 20 years like I have and not meet some people that have a friend that have a friend. So one of the friends that had a friend and had a friend said, we can get you in, but you can't have Galatasaray stuff. I said, shoot. I was never so cocked. I was wearing this. So I had my raincoat because it did rain. So I bebopped down to Kasımpaşa, bought this for only $40 US. Pretty good. Put this in my bag, put that on with my raincoat. I blended right in. Curiously, no one wanted to know why the American was here supporting Kasımpaşa. That was fine. But I made it in. The rain moved out. The game started. And what a fun starting lineup it was. So Icardi started up top. You had Noah Lang and Sane, just like we would like to have. But then İlkay started at 10. But if you watch the game, where was İlkay all the time? Yeah, he was in the back, just like back passing and side passing. So I don't think he likes playing number 10. Kind of like when you put Yunus at 10. He stays out on the wing where he wants to be. Then you had Anaga and Kaan Ayhan in the midfield instead of Lamine and Torreira. So that was fun. And then Arda Ulnay, he's back. He hasn't started in a long time. So we haven't seen him in a long time. So he was back along with Singo. Singo was back there. Sasha Boy and Aaron. And Gunay started at goalkeeper. So yeah, we knew it was going to be different. All our regular players, they weren't even on the bench. The only regular players we had, maybe Jakobs and Shalai, were on the bench. That was it. It was like a Turkish tub game out there. Now, first on this trip, see my first championship in person, went to the last home game in person, and now I went to the last game of the season for the first time, and the first game I've ever went to where it didn't matter if Galatasaray got points. It's kind of weird. For all my life, I'm sure most of you too, every game we go to, it's like a catastrophe if the other team scores. It's the end of the world if we drop points. But this game, Kasımpaşa scored in the first half. We're like, that's a drag. Like, nobody was upset. Then we had so many chances to score. We hit the post. The keeper knocked it over. We were like this close. You could tell it was a bunch of guys who had never played together very much. The timing was just off that much. But it's okay. We're champions. The win let Kasımpaşa stay up. Now, here's the funny thing today. None of the relegation teams today, none of them lost. None of them. Friggin' Gençlerbirliği went to Trabzon and won 3-0, or wherever they played. Kasımpaşa beat us. Eyüpspor was up 2-0 on Fenerbahçe. Fenerbahçe got up 3-2, and then Eyüpspor came back and tied with them. And then Antalyaspor did something we couldn't do this year. They beat Pendikspor 1-0. So when it was all said and done, it was Eyüpspor who goes down. Gençlerbirliği survives. Will keep us a team in Ankara. Antalya's going down. So no more December trips down to the beach. Super League teams, at least for a year. And as we all knew, Fatih Karagümrük is out of here, baby. So yeah, it was, you can see we were all at the game, but everybody was like, somebody had Fenerbahçe on their phone. So, somebody had the Trabzon game on their phone, all seeing who was going to go up and stay. So that part was kind of intriguing too. But it wasn't so much the game. It was fun seeing some of these players. So who do we see for the first time in a Super League game ever? John Armando. Go back to our transfer videos we did last summer. That's the only player I got right. So I'm glad to finally see him in a game to prove me right that he could play. But yeah, so he played. At halftime, Batuhan Shin came in and got his first ever Super League minutes that I'm aware of. Played a very good second half, allowed nothing in. And then in the dying minutes, Artur Uzgic came in. I know it wasn't much, and it was against Kasımpaşa, but he looked pretty good. He had some nice little touch passes, a few little give and goes, so that looked nice. I do want to shout out, because there weren't many of them, because they wouldn't sell us tickets. The Galatasaray fans, the Ultrason that didn't make it. This was the second half. We were losing, and God bless them, they were still going. So you got to love it. You got to love the passion they have for this team. And then here's at the end of the game, Icardi. Is this the last time we'll ever see him walk off of a field in a Galatasaray uniform? I don't know. If you saw the first tweet he's put out in months, it was kind of like a love letter to Galatasaray and Galatasaray fans. But you could read it as a goodbye note as well. So it's kind of, I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. A lot of people are thinking that he's over, but a lot of people are saying, no, he's not. And then after the game, this is cool. They did this last year when I saw him play Eyüpspor too. They come over to thank the fans. They actually walk all the way around and take the time to thank them. That means a lot to the fans. I know. I've been over there, so that is super neat. The only frustrating thing about this trip is I did 3 with a press pass, and you can't really cheer there, even though you really do, because almost all the riders that come are Galatasaray fans. And then today, I'm in disguise. But I guess the good thing was I didn't really have much to cheer about. So if there'd been 3 or 4 goals, I'd probably been what do I do, right? But I didn't have that problem. But yeah, it was a fun day. I wasn't going to be stopped. I made my way in, and before I didn't have any other Super League team jerseys. Now I've got a Samsunspor jersey and a Kasımpaşa jersey. Fun day. The season is over. It was kind of weird watching them go off, and again, never done it before, knowing that when I wake up tomorrow, there's no more games for months. a lot of these players that I just got through watching in all these games might not be here next year. So it's kind of weird actually being here to see all this. And these are all new emotions and feelings that I'm having for the first time. That was the day. So now you know why I had on a Kasımpaşa jersey. It wasn't because I wanted to. These are like that Cyndi Lauper song. These are my true colors shining through. But it was also an awful fun season. We won the league, final 16 of the Champions League. The first season ever covering the team with the Galatasaray show. So I've met so many of you this week. It's been so much fun. All of you, everywhere I've gone, everyone that I've met, it's just been so nice. You're the most wonderful people. Last night, I went to the model reunion show, their first show in 10 years. I was buying a shirt, and the guy I was buying the shirt from was a fan of the show. So full circle kind of stuff. It's so neat, so neat. I just love it. So thanks for watching. We'll come back next week with some new video, new content about something. Head F27 and Heidi in Buke, Jim Bond.